2025 has been a massive year for archaeological discoveries. And believe me, it's not just about ancient pots or dusty bones. No, my friends, this year has served us up some truly mind-blowing finds. We're talking about the kind of discoveries that make Indiana Jones look like he's been slacking off. Let's start with something that will make your jaw drop. Imagine this, a city that was thought to be lost forever, uncovered by a group of sweaty archaeologists who were probably just trying to avoid the heat while digging for some old pottery. But what they found was far more impressive. Somewhere in the heart of the Middle East, beneath the shifting sands, an ancient city emerged. And not just any city. This one was built around 3000 BC, during a time when people were still trying to figure out how to make a decent wheel. The most mind-blowing part? This city had a level of urban planning that would make today's cities blush. Street grids, water systems, and what looked like the ancient version of a cool cafe where the locals probably debated politics. Who knew? The ancient people had their own version of talking shop, and it wasn't just about surviving, it was about thriving. A bit like a modern-day coffee shop where everyone argues about whether to put pineapple on pizza. But hey, the point is, urbanization wasn't a new thing. It's been around longer than we thought.
Next up, one of the strangest and most bizarre finds in recent history. Now picture this, a team of archaeologists deep in the jungles of South America uncovering the remains of what looks like a prehistoric spaceship. Yes, you heard me right. Now I know what you're thinking. Are we really going down the ancient aliens rabbit hole? Well, hold your horses, because there's a far more interesting twist. What they found was a collection of objects, stones, markings, and a few artifacts arranged in a pattern that closely resembled something you'd see if you were looking at a futuristic spacecraft. But before you start imagining little green men in ancient Peru, let's think this through. The objects, when analyzed, showed evidence of incredibly advanced metallurgy, way beyond what should have existed in that time. And while it's tempting to imagine ancient astronauts cruising around Earth, it's more likely that these early cultures had knowledge of materials and techniques we still don't fully understand. So while no UFOs have landed on Earth yet, it seems like we're constantly rediscovering just how far ahead our ancestors might have been. Moving over to Europe, we've got another gem, a bizarre burial site from medieval times that's making us rethink our understanding of death rituals. Archaeologists stumbled upon this graveyard, and instead of finding one body, they found over 30, each one in a position that suggests they were buried alive. Now, before you start imagining a horror movie scenario, the situation here was far less sinister. These people weren't just victims of a serial killer, they were part of a peculiar religious practice where individuals were sacrificed for the greater good of the tribe. But here's the catch. Some of the bodies showed signs of surviving longer than expected. Some even had injuries that were sustained while they were, well, alive during the burial. It's kind of like a really twisted version of Survivor, but with far fewer immunity idols and far more creepy rituals. The most shocking part? Some of these individuals had been buried while still alive for weeks. Imagine that. Being the chosen one for a weird ancient ritual and realizing you're the star of the show, but the show isn't going to end anytime soon?
The discoveries don't stop there. Let's talk about the newly discovered prehistoric cave paintings found deep in the heart of Africa. These paintings, unlike the ones we found in Europe, are unlike anything we've seen before. They depict not just animals, but strange, mythical creatures that suggest ancient Africans might have had their own versions of dragons. I know. Dragons in Africa? What's going on here? But the artwork is so advanced, so detailed, that it raises questions about the stories our ancestors passed down, stories that may have inspired legends. These paintings go beyond mere art. They show that people from thousands of years ago had deep imaginations and a complex worldview that we're only now beginning to comprehend. And then there's the shocking discovery in the icy, desolate regions of Siberia, a perfectly preserved woolly mammoth. Now you might think, okay, it's a woolly mammoth, no big deal. But wait, there's more. This mammoth, who apparently had a rough life, was found with the remnants of an ancient spear still embedded in his body. Now let that sink in for a second. This creature didn't just walk around peacefully eating grass for his last days. No, this mammoth had been hunted by ancient humans. This find is truly something special. The spear embedded in the mammoth's body is the oldest piece of weaponry ever found in a mammoth, suggesting that early humans were not just survivors, but active hunters who knew how to use tools in ways that we never expected. The whole thing paints a picture of humans as skilled, strategic predators.
Now, let's shift gears a bit. Have you ever heard of the lost kingdom of the sea? Well, it's no longer lost. In 2025, marine archaeologists made one of the most extraordinary underwater discoveries ever. They uncovered a submerged city off the coast of India that was thought to have been a myth. This city, buried under layers of silt and sand, dates back over 5,000 years. Imagine that, a civilization that not only existed, but thrived beneath the waves, and no one even knew it. What makes this find even crazier is the fact that the city was constructed with such precision that even after thousands of years underwater, the structures are still largely intact. Streets, walls, and even what appears to be an ancient marketplace have been uncovered, offering an unprecedented glimpse into a once great society. It's like the ocean swallowed up the whole thing and just handed it back to us as a gift. But here's the real kicker. Some of the artifacts they found appear to have had advanced engineering techniques, suggesting these ancient people were far ahead of their time. I guess they didn't just know how to make their city, they knew how to make it last. It's like finding Atlantis, but with less mythology and more ancient tech. Speaking of advanced tech, let's jump to a mind-blowing discovery in Egypt. The year 2025 has seen the unearthing of a completely intact tomb of a high-ranking official who lived during the reign of Ramses II. But what makes this tomb different from others? It's the time capsule inside. No, I'm not talking about some dusty old letters or weirdly preserved food. This tomb contained a series of copper tools and weapons that were completely untouched by time. So much so that experts believe they may have been used in a high-tech form of preservation. These tools, some of which were designed for the embalming process, could change everything we thought we knew about ancient Egyptian practices. The real shocker, however, was what was found in the crypt, an intricate and perfectly preserved map that shows hidden chambers beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's like opening the tomb of an ancient treasure hunter. And who knows, maybe it's time we start questioning everything we thought we knew about those pyramids.
And if you thought things couldn't get crazier, let me introduce you to the fossil discovery that is completely rewriting the history of life on Earth. A team of paleontologists in Antarctica recently unearthed the remains of what looks like an ancient reptile, unlike anything we've ever seen. This creature, a cross between a crocodile and a lizard, lived during the Permian period, around 270 million years ago. What makes this find so groundbreaking is the fact that it shows evidence of the very first animals capable of adapting to both land and water environments. It's as if this creature was the evolutionary bridge between aquatic life and the terrestrial animals that would eventually rule the Earth. In other words, this fossil is like the missing link we've all been waiting for. Forget about finding a new species of dinosaur. This reptile could be the foundation of all future land animals, including us. The discovery of this creature is giving scientists a glimpse into the very early days of life on Earth and how these reptiles were able to survive both in the water and on land. Now we're back to the good old humans, because after all, what would an archaeological discovery be without a little bit of human drama? In 2025, a team of researchers uncovered a burial site in Siberia that completely rewrites what we know about early human migration. This site contained not only the bones of early humans, but also evidence of their interactions with prehistoric animals, specifically the woolly rhinoceros. What's truly amazing about this find is that these ancient humans didn't just hunt these massive creatures, they had some kind of special relationship with them. The bones showed signs of human tools being used to carve intricate designs on the bones of these beasts, suggesting a possible spiritual connection. This find could indicate that early humans in this region had complex belief systems that involved not just hunting, but reverence for the animals they depended on. It's like discovering that your ancestors had a full-on animal cult before it was cool.
Let's take a moment to talk about another eerie find. In an unexpected twist, researchers in Northern Europe uncovered a series of mysterious stone circles that had long been thought to be remnants of Viking rituals. However, new evidence suggests these structures are much older than the Vikings themselves. The stones, some weighing as much as 20 tons, appear to have been placed with astronomical precision. Some even aligned with the solstices, pointing toward a much more sophisticated understanding of the heavens than was previously attributed to the ancient Norse. These circles have sparked speculation that the Vikings were simply the inheritors of an even older civilization, one that was far more advanced in its understanding of the stars and the cosmos. Imagine that. The Vikings might have been just one link in a chain of ancient cultures that shared cosmic knowledge. Finally, let's wrap up with the most recent and, quite frankly, one of the coolest discoveries to date. A team in the Arctic recently stumbled upon a mass grave of what appears to be an entire ancient community preserved in ice. The remains suggest that these people lived around 4,000 years ago and were likely part of an advanced group that specialized in hunting and gathering along the icy tundra. What makes this site so unique is the fact that the bodies were found with no apparent injuries, no signs of violence. Instead, they show signs of an incredibly sophisticated social structure, with individuals buried in specific positions that seem to indicate familial ties and social roles. It's like finding a frozen snapshot of a day in the life of a prehistoric society, a rare peek into how they lived, loved, and died. This site is truly remarkable because it's providing new insights into the life of the Arctic's earliest settlers, giving us a glimpse into a time long forgotten.